Welcome to our channel. Today, we pause to remember a life that touched hearts and left a lasting impact. We'll explore their journey, the challenges they faced, and the moments that made them unforgettable. Join us as we honor their story, celebrate their legacy, and reflect on the memories that will continue to inspire and live on in the hearts of those who knew them. Tragic news was confirmed today, marking the end of an era in American civil rights history. Jesse Jackson, a voice that carried hope through decades of struggle, has passed away. Across the nation, many pause to remember a man who refused to be silenced. In churches, community centers, and city streets, his words once echoed with urgency and faith. He spoke not only of injustice, but of possibility. For millions, he became a symbol of courage during uncertain times. Born in 1941 in Greenville, South Carolina, Jackson grew up in the segregated South. He experienced the limits placed on Black Americans. But he also discovered his gift for leadership at a young age. Education and faith shaped his early path. In the 1960s, he joined the civil rights movement and worked closely with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He stood beside him during marches and campaigns that would change the nation. The movement was not easy. There were threats, arrests, and long nights filled with tension. After Dr. King's assassination in 1968, Jackson continued the work. He founded organizations focused on economic justice and equal opportunity. His mission expanded beyond protest. It became about building lasting power within communities. Through Operation Push and later the Rainbow Coalition, he encouraged political participation among marginalized groups. He believed that change required both protest and presence in government. If you don't have a seat at the table, he often said, you're on the menu. In 1984, Jackson made history by running for President of the United States. He became one of the first Black candidates to mount a serious national campaign. Though he did not win, his candidacy reshaped American politics. 4 years later, in 1988, he ran again. That campaign drew record voter registration among minority communities. It showed that millions were ready to believe in broader representation. One supporter said at the time, "He made us feel seen. He made us feel counted." Jackson's voice was not limited to campaigns. He spoke out against apartheid in South Africa. He negotiated for the release of hostages overseas. He marched for workers' rights and against racial violence. His presence was often found wherever inequality demanded attention. Critics sometimes questioned his methods. Public life brought both praise and controversy. Yet even those who disagreed with him acknowledged his persistence. He remained committed to the belief that silence was never the answer. Over the decades, he became a familiar figure on television and in public debate. His speeches carried rhythm and conviction. He often spoke of hope rising from hardship. "Keep hope alive," he would repeat, turning the phrase into a call that crossed generations. In later years, health challenges slowed him. But his commitment to justice did not fade. Leaders from across the political spectrum have shared their condolences. One civil rights advocate said, "Reverend Jackson spent his life pushing America to live up to its promise." On social media, former volunteers and young activists have posted messages of gratitude. Many say his campaigns inspired them to enter public service. Others credit him with opening doors that once seemed locked. His life reflected the long arc of the civil rights movement. From marches in the 1960s to presidential debates in the 1980s and beyond, he carried the message forward. He believed that political power was not reserved for a few. It belonged to all who were willing to claim it. Today, communities gather in reflection. Churches hold prayer services. Old footage of rallies and speeches circulates once more. The cadence of his voice, strong and clear, reminds many of battles fought and victories earned. Jesse Jackson's journey was marked by struggle, resilience, and unwavering belief. He challenged systems that resisted change. He encouraged those on the margins to step into the center of national conversation. Though his voice has fallen silent, its echo remains. In the story of American democracy, he stands as a chapter of courage and conviction. His legacy lives in every voter who believes their ballot matters, and in every young leader who dares to speak when silence feels easier. And in that enduring call to keep hope alive, his memory continues to rise. Tragic news was confirmed today in the world of cinema. Robert Duvall, one of the last towering figures of Hollywood's golden age, has passed away. In quiet theaters and living rooms across the country, his unforgettable performances now feel even more sacred. For more than 70 years, he stood before the camera with calm strength. He did not rely on loud gestures or dramatic speeches. Instead, he used silence, stillness, and truth. His acting felt real, almost effortless. Born in 1931 in San Diego, California, Duvall grew up in a military family. Discipline shaped his early life. But it was storytelling that captured his heart. After serving in the Army, he studied acting in New York, sharpening the craft that would define his future. In 1972, he stepped into the role of Tom Hagen in The Godfather. The film would become one of the most respected works in cinema history. Surrounded by powerful performances, Duvall remained steady and composed. His quiet presence gave the character depth and dignity. He later appeared in The Godfather Part 2, continuing the role with the same careful restraint. Audiences admired the way he spoke with calm authority. One critic wrote at the time, "Duvall proves that true power on screen does not need to shout." But his talent stretched far beyond one series. In 1983, he delivered one of his most celebrated performances in Tender Mercies. Playing a broken country singer seeking redemption, Duvall brought tenderness and honesty to every scene. The role earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor. When he accepted the honor, he thanked the storytellers who believe in quiet truths. Throughout the years, he moved easily between genres. He portrayed soldiers, lawmen, fathers, and flawed heroes. In Apocalypse Now, his portrayal of Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore became iconic. The character was bold and intense, yet layered with complexity. Directors trusted him. Fellow actors respected him. They often described him as focused and generous on set. One longtime collaborator shared, "Working with Robert meant raising your own standards. He made everyone better." Unlike many stars of his era, Duvall rarely sought the spotlight off-screen. He valued privacy. He chose roles carefully, guided by story rather than fame. His approach reflected an older tradition of Hollywood, one built on craft and discipline. Across 7 decades, he gathered nominations, awards, and lifetime honors. Yet his greatest legacy was not a trophy. It was the body of work he left behind. Film students studied his performances as lessons in subtlety. Young actors learned from his patience and control. As the film industry changed, Duvall remained a bridge to its past. He worked alongside legends of classic cinema and continued into a new generation of storytelling. His career became a timeline of American film history itself. Tributes have poured in from around the world. One director said, "Robert Duvall reminded us that acting is about truth, not ego." A fellow actor posted, "He carried the spirit of old Hollywood with grace and strength." Today, clips of his most powerful scenes circulate once again. Viewers pause at his expressions, his pauses, the way he could command attention with a single glance. His art was not loud. It was lasting. Robert Duvall's passing marks the fading of an era. He stood among the final titans who shaped what American cinema could be. His performances reflected the complexity of real life, flawed, hopeful, and deeply human. Though the cameras have stopped rolling, his characters live on. In every frame he touched, there is a quiet lesson about dedication and truth. Generations will continue to watch and learn. And in the soft glow of a movie screen, his presence will always remain, steady, powerful, and unforgettable. Tragic news was confirmed today in the quiet hours of the morning. Robert Duvall, one of the last great figures of Hollywood's golden age, has passed away. For many, the news feels like the closing of a long and powerful chapter in American film. For more than 70 years, he brought strength and honesty to the screen. His performances were never rushed. They were steady, thoughtful, and deeply human. He did not chase attention. He earned respect. Born in 1931 in San Diego, California, Duvall was raised in a disciplined military family. Structure shaped his early life. Yet art called to him. After serving in the Army, he studied acting in New York, where he trained alongside future stars and quietly built his craft. His early roles were small but meaningful. Directors noticed his calm focus. He had a rare ability to say much with very little. That quiet power would soon define his career. In 1972, he appeared as Tom Hagen in The Godfather. Surrounded by strong personalities, Duvall's performance stood out for its restraint. He played the loyal advisor with balance and depth. The film became a landmark in cinema history. He returned to the role in The Godfather Part 2, again delivering a performance that felt measured and real. Audiences admired the calm authority he brought to every scene. One critic wrote, "Robert Duvall proves that true strength on screen does not need noise." But his career reached even deeper heights. In 1983, he starred in Tender Mercies, playing a country singer seeking peace after a troubled past. The role was simple, yet full of emotion. His performance earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor. During his acceptance speech, he humbly thanked his fellow actors and spoke about the power of honest storytelling. He also delivered unforgettable moments in Apocalypse Now, portraying Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore. The character was bold and intense, yet layered with quiet reflection. The role became one of the most quoted in film history. Across decades, Duvall moved between dramas, westerns, and historical films. He portrayed soldiers, fathers, judges, and everyday men with equal care. Each character felt lived in. Each story carried truth. Colleagues often described him as focused and generous. A longtime director once shared, "When Robert stepped onto the set, you knew you were watching a master at work." A fellow actor wrote in tribute, "He made acting look effortless, but it was built on discipline and heart." Even as Hollywood changed, Duvall remained steady. He did not follow trends. He followed good scripts. His loyalty was always to the story. He also stepped behind the camera as a director and producer, telling stories that mattered to him personally. His passion for film extended beyond fame. It was about craft. Over the years, he received countless nominations and lifetime honors. Yet he carried his success quietly. He valued privacy and simple living, often staying away from the spotlight when cameras stopped rolling. As tributes pour in from across the film community, many speak of his influence. Young actors study his performances as lessons in control and truth. Film schools show his scenes as examples of subtle power. Robert Duvall's passing marks more than the loss of an actor. It marks the fading of an era defined by patience, discipline, and dedication to art. He stood among the final giants who shaped classic Hollywood into what it became. Though the curtain has fallen, his work continues to breathe. In darkened theaters and glowing screens around the world, his characters remain alive. They speak softly. They carry strength. They remind audiences that greatness does not need to be loud. Robert Duvall leaves behind a legacy of authenticity and quiet power. And in every careful pause, every steady glance, and every honest line he delivered, his memory will endure, timeless, respected, and deeply cherished.